Man, welcome in. It's a Friday night on the Denver Bronco Roundup, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network, and of course sponsored by Morgan Trinkets. You're hanging with the Horsemen, man. You are all the posse. That's you joining in with all your comments, all your questions, man. We're coming in after a 33-10 win versus the New Orleans Saints, and man, we got a little bit of a mini bye week, so we can wear that orange and blue just a little bit longer, man. Can't wait to get it started, man. Great to be back. And I got to start off, let's start off with Mr. Jody Judge Moncrief. How we doing, Judge?
What's up, everyone? Coming off a big win last night. I'm not sure that the Saints are they may be the worst team in the NFL right now after last night, but a win is a win. We need these next two because the next three after that are be really hard.
Yeah. Looking ahead at this schedule, we'll probably be doing that during this mini bye week a little bit as well, man. But looking ahead at this schedule, we'll hit a tough stretch, at least as it appears. Man. Before I get over to the Rocket Man, I got to say a few hellos to those in the comments. Coming in with Scott. Scott's coming in on YouTube. He says it's time for Friday fun on Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Well, thank you, Scott, very, very much. Joining us in on YouTube. Must have hit that notification button, man, because here he is talking Broncos with us. We appreciate him so much. Ernie May saying, go Broncos, country only. Go Bo Nix for 6. Hello, all 4. I hope an awesome game against the New Orleans. I hope awesome game. All 4. He's hoping that no, we're not going to get the Dutchie. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, Ernie. But yeah, an awesome game against the New Orleans Saints. I got that, man. Sometimes punctuation throws me off. Roy's saying, hey there, Horseman and the posse. Wasn't a great game, but good. I'll take the win for sure. I'll take Trevor joining us, coming in, saying hello to everybody before I get rambling on all these comments. Trevor, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Yeah, doing well, Keith. It's good to have you back on the show. We definitely miss you on Tuesday. And again, great win for the Broncos last night. You just play this. You play who's in front of you, no matter what, injuries or not. Broncos should not apologize for this one whatsoever. Hope everybody in the posse is doing well tonight, and let's get ready to rock and roll. This is our post-game show from yesterday's game, last night's game. So can't wait to break it down and see what everybody else's thoughts are.
Yeah, I should announce that, man. We didn't go live right after the game, man. It's a late game, and we wanted to, kind of meditate on this game, let it marinate a little bit, watch the game again a little bit myself, and we're here to break it down. Roy watched the game. He says, I saw good and bad. I saw sunshine and I saw rain out there, man. Let's start off right off the bat, man. Trevor, I'll go over to you, man. That first series was not what we wanted to see after coming off that loss versus San Diego at home, going on the road on a short week. And we go out there and Bo didn't look very, Bo Nix for 6. Let's put it that way, buddy. Talk about even that first series and, how that in your mind, that kind of was, set the tone or didn't set the tone.
Yeah, I think you meant Los Angeles. I think you owe another dollar into your jar. You said San Diego. No, I mean the first drive.
So, all right.
The first drive. I mean, again, it's just I understand where Sean Payton's coming out with, a ton of passing plays right off the bat, right? And I get that, trying to get Bo in a rhythm, but he just came out flat once again, and I mean that's just can't happen. And it's one of those things that struggled, and he struggled with it. He missed open guys downfield that were there, so much so that his own quarterback's coach yelled at him when he went back to the sidelines and kind of said, "Hey, guys are open. See it, make those throws." And those are NFL throws he's got to make. I'm not going to sit here and try to harp on Bo Nix all night. That's not what I'm doing, but I'm just saying there's throws there that need to be made, and the footwork. And Keith, we talked about this since preseason. The footwork is how it's been so shaky and needs to be worked upon. And now we're seeing it 7 weeks into it. So started to kind of come to fruition. So things to work on for Bo Nix, but I thought he did a better job throughout the game at times, trying to set his feet and trying to work on it. It's just hard to do that in game. But I think that Sean Payton saw his confidence in Bo Nix, and I think he wants to try to get him going. I just would have liked to seen probably a little bit more of a balanced attack opening the game a little bit, because we've seen the running game get going a little bit. I would like to have seen that. I think that would have helped Bo out more. Hit Bo Nix passing, 40 plus times. We've seen it. It doesn't always help him. So need to get that bounce attack. When Denver has that bounce attack going and the running game's going and being effective, Bo Nix is a lot better, and it takes a lot more pressure off of him throughout the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think I heard a good, I guess, just good analysis of Bo Nix. I think we all know he's kind of struggling with his footwork, but this is probably not something that we see changed or fixed in season.
No.
Right now, you're talking about a rookie quarterback trying to get ready week to week, trying to go over game plans and walkthrough as in tape, and hitting the gym and working out. And, I mean, there's so much to try to add on to that. Hey, we're going to put in an immense amount of time into trying to fix one's footwork. Yeah, you're trying to work on it, but it's not going to be top priority. That'll be an off-season type of thing. But we see flashes. We see where he does get better and where he does have that ability to set his feet, look good, deliver the ball downfield, do it accurately, do it on time. There were some great passes in this game. We'll get to more of that. I want to get to the comments. Roy saying I'm going broke, by the way, with my San Diego Chargers. Luckily, I don't know how many other teams will go up against that are from another town that I'll mess up on. But my good friend Jeremy's coming in saying, "Sup, fellas, go Broncos." Hell of a game. And yeah, it was a hell of a game, man. It's just not very often that we get to jump in and just feel confident throughout the game. It keeps growing and it keeps growing. And that was what we saw versus this New Orleans Saints. Pearl Heater of the amazing Morgan Trinket's coming in and saying hello to everybody. Maybe this is where I heard it. Cecil was talking about the same thing today, Keith. So, Jody, I want to, I'm getting button happy on the comments. Jody, we'll talk more about this offense, but we did end up turning the ball over fairly quickly, 3 and out. Let's start talking just a little bit about this defense. They started off right off the gate, holding this New Orleans Saints team to hardly any points throughout the entire game. It all started even though we turned the ball over early. Talk about this defense, what you saw out there, what was working, what you like to see, especially as we first started the game out.
You seen the you seen the number one defense in my opinion in football. We stopped the run right away, stopping the pass without PS2. The Saints really couldn't do anything all game other than Spencer Rattler had a few escapes out of the pocket a few times. I mean, but that's going to happen. You're not going to fret over that. Garbage time touchdown at the end, really. They didn't do anything all game. Broncos played, one of their best games on defense. Would they have 6 sacks? 1 turnover, should have been 2. Cody Barton played probably his best game as a pro. I mean, he had an incredible game. Yeah, I can't say anything bad about the defense. They played well like they have all year. So
started from the get with that first turnover on the offense, from the first offensive series where we didn't go out there. We didn't look that good, but defense continues to set the tone, man. It came from a lot of different places. Like you said, Cody Barton having one of his best games. Guy seemed like he was all over the place and, very defined on his blitzes, getting home when he needed to, being great in coverage at time, when called upon. So, Cody Barton was just one name that we'll be able to mention during this whole game because there was a lot of players I really felt, stood out or took a step forward within this game. Scott's coming in and saying, I wish Bo Nix would quick pass more. The longer he is in the pocket, the more he dances and the less accurate he becomes. And I think we saw a little bit of that. And Scott game planned in. We see that a lot of the times from Sean Payton, where you're getting those quick passes or you're getting those quick screens or you're getting those bubble screens out to the left or out to the right. I think that's the whole idea behind that is to try to get those quick passes out and try to, get a rhythm for Bo Nix, let him get a feel for the game because then, you have to set your feet and get it to this particular spot. So, but I get where you're coming from, man. I like this. Bo Nix has no fear, and you can't teach that. There's a lot to be said there, buddy. I like that, Paul. Kenny's coming in and saying it's great to see me back, and it's great to see you, Kenny, and thank you so much for coming in and hosting a Tuesday night Denver Bronco Roundup like no other. The stepfather steps in on a moment's notice and did a fantastic job. Appreciate you so much, buddy.
Keith,
yeah,
if you
go
don't
right
mind,
ahead, man.
I don't mean to interrupt. One quick thing on Bo Nix, and I went in and I kind of suggested it last night in our group chat. But do you guys think? And I want you guys to answer this, and Posse as well. Bo Nix doesn't wear, he doesn't wear the play calls on his wrist. Well, I just forgot, totally just spaced out. What Russell Wilson wore last year. He doesn't have that. Do you think that he needs the wristband? That's what I meant, the wristband. Do you think it would help Bo Nix out to wear that wristband? Because it seems like there's still so much time he spent in the huddle, and he gets up to the line of scrimmage, and there's little time to adjust to what the defense is getting him. It seems like they're still getting up to the line too late, and there's 3 seconds before they snap the football. I'm just wondering, do you guys think that would help Bo Nix going forward? Maybe slow the game down for him a little bit so he's not so kind of amped up and, getting ready to, try to get the play calling right. Maybe you wear the wristband. I know it's not a bad thing. I don't think, Russell Wilson wore it last year, but I don't think Bo Nix wearing that as a rookie is a bad thing for him. I was just curious in your guys' thoughts if you think Bo Nix should maybe try maybe Sean Payton and Bo Nix should try the wristband, maybe help out this offense a little bit and get the plays in a little quicker and try to get up to the line of scrimmage quicker so they can make line adjustments.
Jody, I'll let you go, man. Well, I think it would help. I did notice if you look, he does have one on his belt. It's right there in the front. I don't know how, and I'm gonna have to watch the next game to see if he goes to it a lot. I mean, he wanted to call out Russ for getting plays in late and stuff. Then put the wristband on Nix. I mean, what does it matter? I mean, it's not a sign of you. It's not a bad sign. I mean, you look all over. There are plenty of quarterbacks that are wearing it. So,
well, I'll be honest. I'm going to take the other side of the coin. I see a guy that is getting better with it. I see a guy on average, they're breaking the huddle with about 9-10 seconds to go. It's gotten better. At best, they're breaking the huddle around 16 seconds, running up to the line. So there is time. We haven't had a countdown game. We haven't had, our fans up there counting down the clock because we can't get a play off on time. And we're talking about a rookie quarterback. For me, I see progression. And to go back to something like a wristband, I think is just going back to like a crutch that you don't need. I say continue to go this path because I think we're going to continue to see them take it from that average of 9 seconds up to 12 seconds, and breaking the huddle on, in some instances with 18, 19 seconds, because we're just going to get more familiar with what's going on and how the process is currently going. I don't see anything that's necessarily broken. I see it, if anything, it's getting better, and he's familiar with it. Don't go to something he's not familiar with, in my opinion, bud. But I like the idea, man. I understand where you're coming from, man. It doesn't seem like we've helped this guy out a ton. We're asking him to do a lot, but he's shouldered that quite well. And I think as long as he continues to progress, why not? Now, if for some reason, and I'm not expecting it, all of a sudden seems like he's floundering, and we are having like countdown type of games where we're counting down the clock and we're getting delay of game penalties left and right. Yeah, we need to think about a different solution, but I think he's progressing. So
yeah, I just wanted to throw out that suggestion because it's still, to me anyways, it still seems like they're still getting up to the line of scrimmage way too late, and he has little to no time to make adjustments. And against stiffer defenses, you're going to have teams start to blitz him even more. And I just think that's not helping Bo Nix out very much either. You don't have to be cute with it when it comes to getting the play call in. Just make sure, what's more important is the line of scrimmage, making checks, check down, checks at the line of scrimmage to see, to know that your offensive line and your team's in the best possible position for that play. So that's why I was suggesting, because I don't think it's a bad thing, and I just don't want an ego to get in the way of Bo Nix's progress because Sean Payton doesn't want to go back to the wristband, which I know Russell Wilson had last year. And there was problems with that, but there's still something to that where either if it's a wristband problem, maybe, it's not a Bo Nix thing. He's a rookie. That's fine. If he needs to use it for the time being, or Sean Payton kind of dials down the plays a little bit as far as giving Bo Nix more time at the line of scrimmage to make those adjustments. I just think it's something to monitor going forward, because I still think it's an issue.
I don't. But hey, we can agree to disagree. We'll have Jody that's going to be monitoring, how much he's going to there. Maybe we can be looking at exactly how much time is being taken before they break that huddle again, and see if it gets better, man, or if it's getting worse, or if we're having issues there. Our good friend Kenny Kirkpatrick says he does have one question, and I'll start off with the judge. He says, "Do you think we finally see a little more contribution from tight ends, primarily Kroll, who had, in my opinion, the best game from a tight end this season?" Jody went off screen for a second, so I'll jump it over to you, Trevor, first. Trevor, what do you think, man? Did we finally have a solution with what we saw from Kroll? There was some pretty dang good grabs. One that was over the middle that he just snatched. I liked what I saw. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, and don't forget there was a ball that he should have, the Bo Nix should have delivered to Kroll that was wide open on that first drive as well. I think that there's more contributions from Kroll, but that's why I'm saying wait these next couple weeks out to see what you have with this tight end room and what you have in general when it comes to weapons, because I don't want to overreact just based on a couple of weeks of Bo Nix being your starting quarterback. He's got to get the chemistry with these guys, and I think we're starting to see that with not just with the tight ends. Troy Franklin, Devon Vele, we're starting to see more chemistry with those guys. Suddenly, Cortland Sutton, teams are starting to kind of take away Cortland Sutton a little bit. Suddenly, we're seeing other guys step up in his place. So I just think that more time is what this team needs. And let's wait a little bit before we start discussing, let's go trade for Njoku, because keep in mind, if you go trade for somebody, they're going to have to come in and learn the playbook, and they're going to have to gain that chemistry with Bo Nix as well. And that doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah, absolutely. Judge, anything to add as far as the tight end contribution that you saw? Did we find a solution in Kroll? How you feeling about this? If you want to add in as far as a trade, feel free, buddy.
I think it's the best performance we've seen from a tight end this year. I don't want to be a downer. I don't know how much to take away. The Saints were not good, but he was open. Nix, he missed him on the first drive. It is what it is. But he hit him on whatever that was, about a 25-yard seam route down the middle, early third quarter. I thought that was probably his best pass of the night and his best footwork in the pocket. Trade-wise, I've kind of flipped. This offseason, Denver needs weapons. They have, you have a room, whatever you want to call Sutton, of fringe 1, solid 2. You have a bunch of number 3 and 4s. You have a bunch of number 3 and 4 tight ends. He needs weapons, but it doesn't matter if you bring in the most elite wide receivers. If Bo Nix is going to bail out of the pocket like he is, and he doesn't get comfortable in the pocket and get his feet. And it's not so much, I guess, for me, it's footwork. It's just he bails out of the pocket too quick, and then it's like he wants to throw off balance all the time. When he does his 5 or 7 step drop and just trusts the pocket, then he throws well. It's when he tries to throw these off-balance throws, that's when he gets all flustered and stuff. That, in my opinion, has got to be the number one thing this offseason to fix with him. I heard lots of comparisons today. I mean, his numbers to what Josh Allen's were year one are very similar. And Josh Allen, he pretty much reworked his throwing motion in the offseason so it can be done. And I heard multiple quarterbacks today. This is a fix that can happen. It's going to take work, but it has all the other stuff that you want out of a quarterback. This is something that can get fixed. But I mean, it doesn't. I just don't see what going and getting. You could go get a room full of elite number one wide receivers. If he's going to be like this the rest of the season, what does it really matter? You had guys wide open last night that he couldn't hit. So,
yeah, it's something that we saw, and the one thing I wanted to do, maybe it's because of me and Trevor get on the show, and we have been a little bit critical already. We got a 33-10 win. We did it on a short week. We went on the road. I know, and Jody, you hit the nail on the head. This Saints team, there was players I don't think that really were all that interested in playing that game after a couple of quarters. I'll be honest, and I'll probably pull one out and name one that you can go back and watch just film on left, right, and otherwise. But this team was decimated with injuries as it was. They don't have their starting quarterback. They don't have their number one wide receiver. They were just, their offensive line is just like piecemealed together. There was a lot of reasons the Saints team wasn't necessarily favored going into this game versus the Broncos. But I got to get to the comments really quick, guys, because you guys are blowing it up, and I got to get to Phil, who dropped some stars here as well. But I'm going to start off with Paul. Came in a little bit earlier and saying opposing quarterbacks look beat up after they play the Broncos. Jeremy's coming in and saying the biggest takeaway is our defense can still play without our one of our most important player. One PS2, go out there and pretty much only allow 3 points, another 7 points in garbage time. I think we should start finding another good DC. VJ might get some calls soon, says Roy. It looks like, if he wants to, that might be an opportunity, man. Rocket Man called about Pookie. I still think we are going after a running back since the Broncos dropped Watson. That was a little under the radar type of move. Blake Watson was moved on from it, guys and gals, if you didn't know that already. So Clayton's coming in and saying, hey, guys. And hey, Clayton, it's good to see you, buddy. He's also saying the things I always forget. Make sure you smash that like button and share. And hey, while you're at it, subscribe and hit that notification button. I like that as well. Jeremy saying, I don't want VJ to go, but he will be getting calls. Hopefully he learned before that he doesn't want to be a head coach. Sometimes you see those guys that get that opportunity and then they go back to being a DC and live there. Let me get to one more, Jody, just really, really quick, because Phil dropped stars, and then I'll go right to you, buddy. He says, welcome back, Keith. Hello, Rocket Man and Judge. Besides Mr. Happy Feet, the O-line did a decent job in this game. McGlinchey and Miners looked good. I got absolutely. We were going to hit on that offensive line. I want to hit on that offensive line and the performance they had. But Jody, I know that you jumped in. You had an idea. You had a thought. It might not pertain to this, but what do you have, sir?
Oh, it was just with the Blake Watson thing. He cleared waivers and signed back with Denver's practice squad.
Yeah. Oh, very nice. Very nice. That's good news. Does that surprise you at all, Jody, that he cleared waivers, or, being the numbers that he put up in college, being that, running backs aren't necessarily tearing it up across the league? Are you surprised that he didn't get a look from another team and he's back on our practice squad?
Kind of, just because the way we stashed him, we were worried to release him in the very beginning. We stashed him on the 53, and we released Michael Burton and we released little Jordan Humphreys to keep him on the roster. so it is a little surprising, but glad to have him back. I mean, if Estime doesn't clean up his fumbles and clean them up quick, we're gonna have a problem there. I mean, the guy gets you yards and stuff, but doesn't matter if he's putting the rock on the turf. So
Yeah, yeah, he can be productive. He had a one fantastic run, right up the seam, and that was like maybe a theme that we kind of saw from a few different running backs, and maybe even a quarterback. But that being said, let's switch it over, man. Since Phil's dropping comments, I'll go over to you, Trevor. That offensive line, man. That offensive line looked different. They were blowing open holes. Javonte looked like Javonte-esque. McLaughlin was ripping off runs. Heck, even designed runs for Bo Nix were going for big yardage in this game. Compliments to the offensive line. Man, you got to give it up, man. How did you feel about that offensive line? And if you want to talk about Mr. Happy Feet some more, if that's what Phil McLaughlin's bringing to the table here, sir.
Yeah, just to touch upon Blake Watson really quickly, I think that Denver probably had a pretty good idea that he was going to clear waivers. I don't think they make that move if he is, there's a chance he gets claimed. I think that they were worried about at the beginning of the year. That's why I think he made the roster. But right now, he hasn't really done a whole lot right now. So I think that they were not as worried about really, possibly losing him to another team. Also, they had to bring up Quan Alexander, who I think is a nice get for them and familiarity with the Saints. Yeah, I mean, for the offensive line, for me, I think Alex Forsyth needs to be the starting center of this team going forward right now. I think that he really helped Javonte Williams and get this running game going. I mean, you've seen Javonte Williams, able to get out in space because Forsyth made it an important block. I've seen that a couple times. I really like what I've seen from Forsyth. I think that we haven't seen good quality center play in a while, and I want to see more of Forsyth at center before you bring Wattenberg back. You kind of have somewhat of an idea what you have with Wattenberg, but Forsyth's size and just what he's able to do run blocking wise, you need that because you need to get this running game going. Love to see what I've seen from Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is this team's best all-around complete back when he's on, and that why I say that is in the pass protecting, he's the best. When it comes to finding holes, again, that's his inconsistency there. I mean, then in the passing, Bo Nix can always rely upon him, in the passing game. So that's why I say Javonte Williams all the way around gives Denver the best shot at being an all-around back currently on this roster. And I said that on Tuesday, and it ended up staying true, and he ended up playing really well, bounced back really nicely last night on Thursday. So, the offensive line definitely stepped up, and a big reason why you're able to get that running game going. Javonte Williams was able to see the holes right, and he attacked them. He was patient, and so just quality run game and quality from the offensive line just in general. They gave Bo Nix, a solid amount of time, I think, in the pocket. Sometimes it broke down a little bit, but not too shabby for this offensive line and what they have going forward. And so definitely some positives to take away from this offensive line play, and hopefully a starting center going forward that you can count on, Mr. Alex Forsyth.
Jody, you've been tough on Javonte Williams. He's been looking a little bit better and definitely looked good in this game. Not only hitting those holes, but breaking some tackles, getting some extra yardage. You've now flipped and you're pretty tough on Bo Nix. Want him to be a little bit more in that pocket and be able to deliver the ball and not escape so quickly. How did you feel about this offensive line as they took the game versus the Saints and the way that they produced? Mike McGlinchey getting back, and again having a change at center for a second consecutive game, and the production that we saw there. How do you feel, Joe?
I think this was the O-line's best game so far. Just look at the run game. I mean, there were big holes all night. All three running backs had big runs. I think this started in preseason. We've seen it with or in OTAs. We've seen it with Forsyth. The running game was more explosive when he was in at center. And you brought in three guys that are in the last couple of years. You brought in Mike McGlinchey. You brought in Powers. That they're run blocking guys. They're not pass 40 times a game type blockers. And you've seen it. They pointed out Mike McGlinchey multiple times. He was just knocking dudes down and making big holes. So, I've said it for a while. Lloyd Cushenberry was a big loss, but this is still, in my opinion, probably a fringe top 10 O-line and something you definitely can build around. I thought Garrett Bowles had his best game too. They said he allowed 0 pressures last night while blocking Chase Young the whole game. I don't know how much effort Chase Young is putting into it now. But, you were on a Super Bowl contending team last year, or team that was in the Super Bowl, and now you went to this. I don't know how much effort he's putting in, but he held him to no pressures last night. So, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, enough that, when he was playing on a different side, he almost got a sack on Bo Nix, and then Bo Nix rattled off one of the best escapes that most we might have seen in the NFL. One of the top 10, I guess you could say, escapes we've seen from an NFL quarterback. Paul's just jumping in here and saying Troutman would have had 40 yards as well, but he missed him 2 or 3 times. He thought Troutman looks frustrated. Scott's coming in and he says, I feel that there's so much focused on how quick he got the ball out in the offseason. Now he isn't. Is it because tight ends and receivers aren't open? Think about that, guys, while I talk about something fantastic, and that's our amazing sponsor, Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets is your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices. And I'm telling you what, 33 years experience in the business, they know what they're doing. Head on over to Facebook, Morgan Trinkets. Check out what we got going on from Pearl, because Pearls does amazing things. Not only does she have that amazing Facebook store where you can get anything shipped for free when purchasing over $50, PayPal purchases only, but she also does shows all over Southern Wyoming, Northern Colorado. You need to check out one of those shows. You go out to the show, she takes all major credit cards as well. I'm telling you, 33 years experience in the business. You want to go with Morgan Trinkets for all your Southwest jewelry, Southwest pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices. I'll go ahead and I'll drop the link here in just a second. Trevor, I'll start with you, though, man. Scott's wondering, he feels that there's a lot of focus on getting the ball out quickly, and now it's just not happening. Is it because the tight ends and the receivers aren't open? What are you seeing when this quick passing game isn't necessarily happening for Bo Nix, those quick reads?
I don't necessarily think it's just the the quick passes. I think again it's just because at some point in time he's going to have to be able to let his wide receivers get open and make throws downfield. It can't just be checkdowns all game. We've kind of seen them sort of kind of get away from that a little bit more as the seasons went on. So for me, it's not necessarily that guys aren't getting open, because we clearly seen guys were getting open last night. So he's just missing those throws, and it goes back to his footwork. And like Jody said, he tends to fade away from his weapons anytime he's trying to throw. But I don't necessarily think it's just how quickly he gets the ball out. I think it just his accuracy. We thought that his accuracy wouldn't be this much of a question right now from what he did in college. So I think there's still upside there, and he still does a lot of things well. He gets the ball quickly when it comes to maybe getting rid of the ball. When it comes to pressures, he doesn't really, he avoids sacks really well. Very tough to bring down. And again, his scrambling ability, mobility is very nice. But again, Bo Nix needs to become more of a pocket passing quarterback than because we've seen his mobility. We've seen what he can do as far as getting outside the pocket and making plays happen. But a pocket passing Bo Nix needs to be a priority as well going forward, because defenses around the league will adjust to that and make him be a pocket passing quarterback, make him make those throws. He's got to be able to do that going forward. So some of the things that he was hyped about, up about before he came into the league, I would say, yes, they're not quite where they need to be, but there's certainly more time and improvement that can be made, and I think will be made as time goes on for Mr. Bo Nix.
Yeah, 70+% completion percentage when he was coming to the Denver Broncos out of being an Oregon Duck. We haven't necessarily seen that same level of execution, I guess is the best way to put it. Judge, I want to get your thoughts on this though too. When you think about the quick passing game, and you think about Bo Nix dropping back, taking those steps, going to deliver the ball, and not having delivered the ball? Is it because those tight ends, those wide receivers aren't open in that quick passing game? Is it a Bo Nix problem? Is it an offensive line problem? I'll leave it completely open. What are your thoughts on why that quick passing game, according to Scott, just isn't getting clicking like we saw in the preseason?
I think a lot of it is play calling. It's almost like we've kind of went away from some of those really quick passes. I mean, go watch the Green Bay game. I mean, I haven't seen really any of those routes. I mean, he was throwing little 4 or 5 yard dump offs, 6, 7, 8 yards. I don't really see those over the middle. I mean, where is all that at? I don't know where all that went. And I think that's play calling. I know you got to open it up, but the Green Bay game to me, and I know it was against backups and whatever, but I mean, he just drove the ball right down the field that one drive. He stayed right in the pocket. I mean, when he doesn't drift and he's comfortable in the pocket, he's accurate. I mean, and I'll take all day like that, whatever that was, about a 20-yard strike to Sutton in the Packers. I'll take that all day, just like he had that seam pass to Kroll. I think a lot of it is just play calling. I think they're not calling them short. Like some of them, it's like Peyton wants it now intermediate, and he's went away from it to me because I don't see, even in the first 2 games, I haven't seen any of those kind of routes or anything like that. I mean, where he was just hitting Tim Patrick on little 5, 6 yard plays. I'll take that all day because you're moving down the field. So I think a lot of it's play calling.
I'm going to 100% agree with you, Jody, but I'm going to take it one more step. I think what we saw was this shortened field where the Broncos were, so shortened in what they were doing in the passing game that it affected their running game as well. So I think that Sean Payton has changed the play calling. He's trying to get intermediate to maybe sometimes deeper routes in order to loosen up that front 7 so that the Denver Broncos can, get a running game going. I think that to answer your question, Scott, that has to be designed. If you're going back there and you're going back on a 3-step drop, you need to be the quarterback that goes back to the 3-step drop and hits your back foot and is ready to deliver that ball. Now, that's not something I've seen a whole lot from Bo Nix. Looks like he hits the back of his 3rd step and then drifts another 4th or 5th. The other thing is that, again, you got to, if you want to go into the tight ends, that's got to be your read. It can't be Sutton. It can't be Reynolds. It can't be Vele. If you want it to be a 3-step drop, short pass, deliver it out, quick pass on time to the tight end needs to be the number 1 read. So that is a play calling thing. And honestly, I don't think we've had the trust when you look at a Greg Dulcich to necessarily go that way. Now, what I saw from Kroll in this game, that would make me build some confidence and maybe get the tight ends more involved in this game. But as pointed out, maybe Troutman had some reasons to be frustrated because, hey, there were some opportunities there as well. I do want to just say really quick, and then I'll get to you, Trevor. Rick Diaz has jumped in here a couple times. He says, I'm happy with what the game was. Like he said, I didn't see the game, and he's sorry. Don't be sorry. We all get busy. He said something came up, but when he saw the score, he said he was like, wow, Denver. He was surprised by Denver, and we were all happy, man. I would have to agree with that. That's one of the things I wanted to come in with. Man, it's a 33-10 win. They're both NFL football teams. Again, short week, go in there, get the win. You get the mini bye now. But these guys came in, they came to play, they came on the road. It would have been easy, especially after that first series kind of falling flat and what we did last week to give up on this game. And let's face it, at that point, we're the team that's 3-4. And guess what? The Saints would be too. That's exactly where we would have been. So it wasn't about a team that was necessarily, already set to go and just should be blowing this team away, even as decimated as they were. Trevor, I know I could tell just by the look on your face, man. You got to jump in here. So what do you got, buddy?
No, I mean, I think that it's a great win. I think there's some takeaways, some positive takeaways, but I think that, I mean, we need to stiffer competition will definitely determine, I think, where this football team is at. They should have won this game by how how much they won it by, maybe even more. This was a must-win game, and I think that Carolina is as well. I think the true test is going to be when they go on the road to Baltimore and Kansas City. That's going to be where the true test is. I know some people say Carolina. Yeah, no, Carolina's not going to just roll over per se, but Denver should beat them. I would think. Don't think it's going to be easy by any means, like it was in this game. But I think the true test is going to be after the Carolina game, because I do expect Denver to take care of business in that game. We're not giving out any predictions or anything, but Carolina's a ways away from being where they need to be as well, and they have their own quarterback issues right now. For me, I just a lot of positives to take away. I for sure, you play whatever competition you have in front of you, you play them regardless of what what their situation is. Don't feel bad for them just because you got to win. There's no feeling bad for anybody in the league. You take a win any way you can get it, however you can get it. But I want to make one quick thing on Bo Nix to wrap up my point earlier. Bo Nix, for me, again, it's not so much I'm worried about the short passes with Bo Nix. It's his accuracy when it comes to throwing the ball. To the 9 route, like Marvin Mims, like a deep ball, the deep ball per se. That's what I'm more worried about with him. I think he can hit those throws over the middle of the field, and we've seen a couple of those in last night's game. The one, the Vele right over the middle of the field. I think he's pretty accurate with that. But the thing is, can he make those long throws, and can he hit those guys on target? That is where I think Bo is struggling when it comes to his accuracy problems. I don't think we're seeing too many issues with Bo Nix when it comes to his short passing game. So I don't worry about that as much. That was the point I was trying to make earlier. Probably should have just kept that a little bit shorter than I was talking about. But
I haven't on his deep passes. I haven't seen him throw any from just in the pocket and throw and step into a throw. Everything's out of the pocket and he's throwing off balance and stuff. So again, it goes back to me: get comfortable in the pocket and throw a deep pass from in the pocket. I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen that yet. To me, his best throw all year was against the Jets when he threw that long dig route to Cortland Sutton. That was on a dime, and he was in the pocket. But I haven't seen even that pass that Franklin dropped against the Raiders. He was outside the pocket. He was throwing off balance. That's got to get – and he didn't need to throw like that. There was no one in his face. He could have planted, set, and stepped and made a good throw. So that's what he's got to work on.
Fair enough, man. I think that's we're going to have opportunity to be really rough on a rookie quarterback. And hey, let's face it, Broncos country, we have high expectations. We've had John Elway and we've had Peyton Manning, for crying out loud. It's like we set the bar pretty high. So I saw someone talking saying I didn't give Jake Plummer enough credit. Yeah, when you're living up to John Elway and Peyton Manning type of statuses, it's tough. It's tough. And Broncos country holds a high bar for what their quarterback play is supposed to look like. Big E Bronco came in a little bit ago, and I'm going to take his comment over on YouTube. By the way, Big E Bronco saying, "How's everybody doing tonight?" Big E, thank you for joining on the show, man. It's always good to have a nice big posse, and Big E Bronco, you're part of it, man. Thanks for joining a part of it, being a part of it. I'm going to convert this, man. If you were to use a one-word description about how you feel about the Denver Broncos, and I'm going very slow, so Trevor and Jody can both start to formulate in their minds what that word might be. I'm going to go to Trevor first. Trevor, if you're going to formulate in your mind how you feel about the Denver Broncos, I know how I'm feeling right now with Big E Bronco coming in after a 33-10 win versus the New Orleans Saints. But how are you feeling about the Denver Broncos? One-word description.
I'm going to say growing.
Growing. Yeah, I like it. And feel free. Elaborate on your one word. Why choose growing?
Growing because I think that you're seeing Bo Nix on offense again. I'm going to hit the defense as well. On the offense, for me, Bo Nix is starting to kind of get that timing, that rhythm down with some of these younger guys. And like Pearl just said here, progress. That's a good word as well. I think he's starting to kind of get that chemistry down with a guy like Troy Franklin. We're starting to see more of him. Marvin Mims is starting to get involved more. Now it's not up to where it needs to be. Yes, I agree, but we're starting to see, I think, progress, like Pearl just said, and growing from this team offensively. I know this game, yes, we understand what the Saints were going through as far as injury wise, but I think that there's going to be progress going forward. I really do. I think I've seen enough of Bo Nix where I'm not. I don't think he cannot be the guy, or there's nothing that can't be fixed with him. That's the thing. That's growing pains with a rookie quarterback. If this running game can just be a little bit more consistent, I think that you're going to have a much better offense. I think Bo Nix will eventually figure it out as time goes on. And then defensively, obviously, this defense has already grown so much from last year, from what they did. This is a top 5 defense in the NFL right now, even without Pat Surtain, as well. So this defense has given this team an opportunity to win, and they're doing whatever they can. And VJ's, getting discussion as far as possibly being a head coach and candidate coming into the offseason, this coming up offseason. So growing, I think, just in general. The offense, obviously, a little bit more concerned about, but the defense certainly is growing. I mean, Nick Pinedo, Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen. I mean, this defensive line is such a big upgrade from where it was last year. We're seeing Mr. Riley Moss start to come into his own a little bit more as well. So growing for me would be the word, but obviously still be cautious of where this offense is going to go. The offense being more of the concern right now. But that's expected when it comes from a rookie quarterback and some of these other young guys that you have playing on this football team offensively.
I like that, man. If you're growing, you know what that means? That means you had to go out there, you had to, maybe get the seeds, you had to plant them, you had to water them, you had to fertilize them, and now you're starting to see some growth. Some of these guys have taken some time to come around. Some of these guys are just starting to sprout up as we speak. But you know what? That doesn't mean that it's over, right, man? That means you need to tend to this young growth that we're starting to see come in. Make sure that they flourish, because right now we see a lot of great things, especially when we start talking about that offensive side. Need to make sure we tend to the crop and make sure that we have a nice bounty at the end, right? Jody, I'm going to flip it over to you, man. I'm getting words, though, like excited, progress, uncertain, elated, growing, orange crush. It's hyphenated. It counts. Says Scott. Appreciate it, Scott. Average says Roy. Awesome says for me, says Ernie Mays, and Roy Osborne's looking for the miracle grow. So Jody, the one word you would use to describe this Denver Broncos team right now, you going to use one from the posse? Got one of your own? You going to double down on Trevor's? What are your thoughts, buddy?
For me, it's optimistic, and I'm going to go a little bit different route. George Payton gets a lot of flack for Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson deal, but he doesn't get, in my opinion, enough credit for the players he's brought in. Brandon Jones, Cody Barton. He made the John Franklin Myers trade. Getting Zach Allen last year. I mean, that's all him. He drafted Riley Moss. Jonathan Cooper. You can say that Sean Payton's running the ship, but he wasn't out there scouting to go trade for John Franklin Myers. He wasn't out there scouting Cody Barton to go get Cody Barton. So, I mean, that's why I'm optimistic, because he's made a lot of great moves that's improved this defense immensely. Now I hope that they start signing their own and keep this intact. Same thing on the offensive side. I didn't really like the Troy Franklin draft at first, but as things keep going on, I think him and Vele are going to be key pieces moving forward. I think Mike McGlinchey's played really well this year, although it's been only a couple games. I mean, they drafted Forsyth late. I think he's played well. a lot of these later moves that no one really thinks or sees, that they just overlook. Everyone just thinks, oh, Sean Payton's making the calls. I don't think that's necessarily the case. And that's what makes me optimistic, because we're going to have if we don't make any moves at the deadline, we're going to have a full set of draft picks next year. The big portion of Russell Wilson comes off the books, and we're going to have a lot of money to go spend and get weapons for Bo Nix and let him go and do what he did on the defensive side to the offensive side. So anything you get extra this year, in my opinion, is just gravy. I didn't think this team was going to the Super Bowl anyways. If you make the playoffs any given Sunday, but just keep building, and I think going forward things are going down the right path. Even bringing in Sean Payton, he's turned this culture around. From look at where we were 2 years ago with Hackett, and you have guys and Russell Wilson getting into it on the field. You have guys not picking Russell Wilson up after getting sacked. You have just all that drama, and he turned that all around in less than a year, or over a year, basically. So, yeah, I'm very optimistic. And you've got owners that are not afraid to eat money, lose money to get something, knowing that that's what's best in the long run. So that's why I'm optimistic. It's something we haven't seen in 8-9 years. And if Bo Nix can clean some things up, I think what we've seen in Kansas City the last 8-10 years might be coming back to Denver.
Man, you guys knocked it out of the park, man. I have no words. Literally, I don't have any words. Between you and the posse, I think you guys have said it all. This team is awesome. There's reasons to be thinking that they're maybe a little bit average. There's reasons to be excited about that Orange Crush. Phil, uncertain. I get it. There's still a lot to prove, but I'll tell you what, I think being optimistic and thinking that we're growing is right on the money, man. This team is in a different position, a better position, as Jody put it. 2 years ago, Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson, fighting on the sidelines, whether it be between the players or screaming between coach and quarterback, and we got the Danger Witch, and I mean, you just name it.
Got the crowd counting down because he can't for the time clock. We settled for 65-yard field goals in Seattle. I mean, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah. And now we're optimistic and we're growing according to the Horsemen. It's just a great place to be, man. Travis Johnson jumped in a little bit later over on Facebook. He says Bo just needs to relax. I'll believe in this defense once we play KC, Baltimore, and Atlanta. I'm still leery about this team. There is something to be said, and I'll let you guys chime in here as well on this. I'll get through a few more comments to make sure they don't have anything else. But, I'll go to Jody first. Jody, you were talking about this New Orleans Saints team maybe not being world beaters that we just went up against. Do you have any concerns, and will you have a better belief, or do you think we're up to the challenge of a KC, Baltimore, and Atlanta that lie ahead?
No, I'm not worried. We've seen it all year, the same thing. We've shut down pretty much every offense we've played. Has it been perfect? No, but this is a bona fide top 3-4 defense in the league. I'm not worried. PS2 is, he's the glue to this whole thing. He allows you to play man. He allows you to put a safety over a little bit to help Moss sometime. He allows you to blitz. So I'm not worried. This D doesn't worry me one bit.
Paul's saying that the Chiefs and Ravens aren't that scary anymore. And maybe that's what he's saying. I think that might be the case, especially when it comes to the Chiefs. But like I said, Travis is jumping in. He's saying he'll believe a little bit more in this team, especially this defense. after they get done with the KC, Baltimore, Atlanta games. Trevor, what say you?
Yeah, for me, I mean, you gotta be still have concerns, but I mean, I wouldn't say, oh, there's no concerns at all because we don't know what's going to happen here, from week to week. But I mean, there's definitely going to be stiffer competition going forward, without a doubt. We'll see how this defense holds up, but I think that they've already kind of proven that they can hold, handle those stiffer offenses. I mean, Seattle's offense is not one that I would just say is not a very good offense. Tampa Bay. So we've already seen some pretty good offenses that this defense has been able to kind of settle down a little bit and just hold pat and give this team a chance. That's the thing. You want to be able to give your team a chance. I don't expect this defense to play elite every single game for the rest of the season, but I still do think that they can at least give this offense a chance to try to win a game and maybe even win a few games here for your offense. Then yeah, absolutely. But I'll take that. We'll see how the season goes continuously. Again, there'll be other competition out there for this team, separate competition for this team. But I do like the direction of this defense going forward. I'm not, I don't think that I'm too concerned right now, but need some improvement from that offense because that offense hasn't put this defense in a great position on some of these games. So the defense not as a concern, I wouldn't say, but the offense is still something that needs to be improved on, very much so going forward for me.
7 games, man. That's what I got to say. 7 games, and this defense has been continuously being ranked at the very, very top. Other than when they went up against the former San Diego Chargers. You like that, Trevor? The former San Diego Chargers. That was probably their worst game that I've seen this season. I think this defense has looked pretty dang good, and I have a feeling they might have been just looking a little bit ahead. Phil McLaughlin's coming in here, dropping stars as we're about ready to get out of here. Man, we're counting down the clock, gentlemen. This went really quick, but his thoughts here was, he goes, I want to see how the O improves over the next 3 weeks. I'm not worried about the defense. Trevor, I'll start with you, man. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but we want to address Phil, man, and appreciate Phil jumping in here and dropping some stars. What are your thoughts, man? Improvements that you think are tangible over the next 3 weeks for Phil to see from this offense?
Yeah, for me again, and Phil, thank you for dropping the stars and for tuning in as always, and everybody for tuning in as always. But yeah, for me, I think it's just a running game. You got to have that balanced attack. For me, I think that you've seen where this offense can be when they start running the ball and running the ball effectively. And I think that that's going to help your rookie quarterback out the most. Listen, there's going to be struggles with Bo. That's definitely something that you can expect. He's not going to be perfect. Every rookie quarterback goes through their mistakes, and even veteran quarterbacks go through their mistakes and ups and downs. So I would think, continuing to get that run game going is going to be huge for this football team going forward. It's going to really help Bo Nix out. When Bo Nix, and we've seen it already, when Bo Nix is passing 40 plus times, you're putting him in a real difficult position and increasing the chances of him possibly, just throwing interceptions or turning the football over. So got to continue to have that running game get going and stick to the run because that's going to be what helps Bo Nix get through this season and helps put Bo Nix in better position to be successful going forward, in my opinion.
Sounds good, buddy. Phil wants to know about this O improvement, Judge. What do you think are tangible, real things that we could see over the next 3 weeks from this offense to continue to improve? What would you be looking at, sir?
Just for Bo Nix to stay settled a little more in the pocket where he can hit these easy, when you have wide open guys, make these easy throws. Don't make them harder than they are. And when you get down in the red zone, you've got to score touchdowns when they're given to you. I mean, he left 2 touchdowns on the field last night. Just make these easy. Not everything has to be perfect. And I don't care if he throws interceptions or, if he's trying to make throws, that's what I want. I want to see him. It's like he's been ingrained. He's hesitant. Don't take sacks. Don't throw interceptions. And I don't care if he takes a couple sacks to stay settled in the pocket. You got to trust your skills and I think it is something that him and Peyton will work on in this little mini bye, get him settled in the pocket a little more, and maybe get some little shorter routes that are easier to give him the ball out easier. I think
I like it, buddy.
that will help that will help everything. It'll help the defense, even if you're not scoring, you're flipping field position, just little things like that, because the defense is going to get turnovers. They've been doing it all year. Little things like that. That's where I'd like to see him and build off of this run game. I mean, that was your best run performance all year, and you can lean on that deep into the playoffs. We watched 2015, an offense that struggled to win a Super Bowl. So,
yeah, I agree. I agree with everything that you just got done saying, Judge. My thoughts on this would be this. I want to see obviously those improvements from Bo Nix, but we saw record numbers for Mims. We saw record numbers for Franklin as far as snaps in this game. We saw Devon Vele getting involved. We saw Lucas Kroll starting to be productive. I want to continue to see the development of these players that we necessarily didn't see at the very beginning of the season continue to take snaps and develop into the players we'll need them to be, and that we'll want to invest in coming the end of the season. If these guys get going, they end up being the core players for Bo Nix. And the last thing I'll say, that'll be key. I think that'll be huge, and that'll put us in such a better position come the end of the season. The last thing I'll say, we got a little bit of a mini bye here. We know that there's always, layers added throughout the season, and even more layers if you get into those playoffs. I think it's time to see more layers of this offense opened up to Bo Nix. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we'll see more plays available to him. Maybe we take away some of the things that he's already been looking at. But I think we need to see more layers in this offense as we continue to go through this season. I think this is a perfect time to start to introduce that, especially on the offensive side. Let me get through a few comments, guys, and then I'll get some final thoughts from you as well. Unique Prepping is coming in and saying, Knoppers, this is Smouse in the house. Well, I apologize, Unique Prepping, because Knoppers isn't here, but we expect him back here probably on the next show. Appreciate you jumping in over on YouTube, and it's always good to have a Smouse in the house. It's great to see Unique Prepping. Thank you so much, man. And I'm just Travis trying to. Hey, we've been with him all along these lines, man, trying to make sure that we're critical of this team at times when they need to be. And Travis is being right there. He's saying, "Come on, man, Rattler was tricking them. What do y'all think Lamar will do? Mahomes can run too, and Cousins can kill you from the pocket." I still think we're light a little bit light along the defensive line, and we need a Keith a tractor trailer or the likes out there as well. So, hey, we're going to have time, and we're going to get into a lot as we go through all our different shows in this mini bye week, and I guarantee we'll be critical and start looking at this defense a little bit more. But right now, man, we're past the hour. We got to wrap it up. I'm going to start with Judge the Jody Moncrief, get some final thoughts as we're getting out of here, and then I'll get some final thoughts in as well. Buddy, and Trevor, we'll let Trevor talk as well.
Get everyone healthy over this little mini bye. You should get PS2 back next week. You're as healthy as really you're going to get all year. Hopefully Nix can, get over his little yips and get settled in the pocket. And I don't need 300-yard games from him, but just complete the easy passes, especially when the guy's wide open. You got to complete those passes and hopefully this run game can keep doing what it's doing, because if you get 200 plus from your run game every game, you're going to win a lot of games. And enjoy it. We haven't seen this in a while, so
nice sitting here at 7 games, looking at over 500. It has been a while since we've been sitting in this position. Trevor, let's get some final thoughts for you before we get out of here. Running past the hour, but always good to have the posse and be talking with them. We'll go a little later. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. No, so on, I was using that word growing earlier. Well, there's one player in particular that is growing in himself. Mr. Torrey Franklin was inactive week 1. Now he's out there making plays for this football team. So that just goes to show you that this team is growing. Yes, there's still a lot more growing to make with this football team, but we're starting to see the small growth and it's starting to add up eventually. And hopefully this football team will be successful going forward. And stiffer competition is only better and can help this team continue to grow going forward. So no, I just want to thank everybody in the posse tonight for just being awesome, interacting and sharing, subscribing. Again, we really appreciate it. We appreciate everybody being patient with us tonight. This being our post-game show. We apologize for not being on last night, but we hope that you enjoy a full hour of us. Last night would have been a little bit shorter. Obviously, with our post-game shows, we go a little shorter, but really appreciate everybody continuing to support us. And again, we can't wait to see you next week, and hope everybody has a great weekend. Be safe out there. Stay warm. And as always, go Broncos.
Yeah, stay warm. It sounds like your weather might be like my weather. I was waking up to low 30s this morning. It was a little chilly outside. Our good friend Pearl over there at Morgan Trinket saying, fun show. Love everyone, and thank you. She's not just talking about Trevor and Jody and me, man. She loves everybody in the posse. Check out Morgan Trinkets. I dropped that link a little bit earlier. Appreciate some new faces. Gotta love when Unique Prepping, yeah, AK House, Mouse in the house. We love to have you in here. Phil dropping stars throughout the evening. Paul, big part of the show. Roy, a big part of the show as well. Travis, keeping it real every single step of the way. Appreciate you, sir. We usually have a few Saints fans, aka Raiders or Chargers or Seahawk fans in here. We didn't have the Saints fans tonight. They usually help us keep it real as well, but Posse, you were on point as well. Who else did we have in here? I was making sure. D-Rock, man, it was good to see you. Rick Diaz coming in over on YouTube. Ernie Mays, if I didn't already say it, thank you so much. I'm just scrolling crazy. Biggie Bronco, Scott, if I didn't say. Jeremy Dressler, thank you. Kenny Kirkpatrick, already said. Phil McLaughlin is an amazing star as he was dropping. Clayton jumped in. Again, thank you. Posse, we've been growing. We've been getting bigger. You guys have been clicking, tuning in to every single one of our podcasts. We go live every Tuesday, every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Guess what? We also go live after, almost every game. We didn't make the last game, but every other game we went live after those Sunday games. Make sure you're tuning in and you're catching us and making sure that you get in here with your thoughts, your ideas. We love having a conversation with every single one of you. It's been a fantastic hour. We're going to be back, if you're paying attention, back on Tuesday. So until our next episode, thank you all so much. We appreciate you. Keep your feet, keep those boots that you have on, keep them right in the stirrups. Keep your guns in the holsters. And as always, Broncos country, keep the Broncos in your hearts. Appreciate you so much. Have a great night, everyone. We're getting out of here. Have a great weekend.